Sonic 3 and Knuckles has been my favorite Sonic game for years. There's just been nothing like it. A great 2D platformer with a lot of personality, secrets, polish, life, great design, so on and so forth. It's everything I want out of a platforming game, let alone a Sonic game. And while the 3D games have come close at times, there just hasn't been another that stood up to it. Then Sonic Mania was announced, and I saw exactly what I saw in Sonic 3 and Knuckles. All that I previously mentioned was in every trailer I saw, and more we would find out about the game, the better it looked every time. Honestly, I didn't know how much more I could take. The game looked so promising, so I pre-ordered it and played it day one, and now that I've played through the game with all the characters in the game completely, I've come to a conclusion. I was extremely excited for this game because it looked so good. It was gonna be a good one. It had to be good. How could it not be? Was there a way to mess this up? A 2D Sonic game made by people who once made fan games to remasters of classics to a full-fledged original game to celebrate the series. Was there a way to mess it all up? Or is this really the great return to format Sonic the Hedgehog game worthy of celebrating 25 years of the series? Or is it 26? Whatever. This is my review of Sonic Mania. This game takes place after Sonic 3 and Knuckles. I guess Sonic 4 can just go die in a hole, but who'd miss that anyways? Sonic and Tails are relaxing when Tails gets a weird energy reading from far away. He can tell that it isn't a Chaos Emerald, but they decide to go check it out anyways. Eggman gets a reading of the energy source at the same time, so the race is now on to get to the mysterious energy source first and see what this weird power does. Eggman, however, has been busy since his last defeat, and by that I mean he's now made a team of elite robots known as the Hard-Boiled Heavies. It's every bit as amazing as it sounds. With his new allies, Eggman makes it to the mysterious power energy first that was on Angel Island, which is a strange gym that seems to be able to change the location on the spot. So now that Eggman has his power, it's up to Sonic and his friends to try and get that gym back and stop Eggman from using it for evil. The plot does sound a bit more involved, but in the end it can just be summed up as Eggman is trying to do the bad thing, go stop him. Clearly we're having some of the deepest lore and symbolism, along with Sonic himself getting the character development needed for an engaging plot. It's all simple, yet involved enough to make things a bit more interesting, so it gets a plus in my book. The game does have in-game cutscenes, which are nice to spice things up, but nothing more. The story is kinda there, and it gets the job done for what it's worth. So let's stop dwelling on it and get into the rest of the stuff. You know, what matters in a 2D platformer and a Sonic the Hedgehog game. Look at this game. Just look at it. You good? Well, I'm not, because I need a change of pants now. These graphics clearly go for the style of the Genesis era, but they try to master it, and it shows because hot damn this game looks great. Admittedly, this game looks like something that'd be on the 32X or Sega Saturn, but that's okay because those systems could make some insanely good looking 2D platformers. Being focused on pixels, everything's incredibly detailed and animates smooth as hell. The game's colors all complement each other super freaking well. Nothing incredibly overbearing or too mute, it all looks so right. And with this game running at the always awesome 60 frames per second, everything looks and feels amazing. Special shoutouts to the character models. Thought that they were expressive before? Well, they're filled with even more personality this time around, having the expressions needed to make this game as charming as the classics it's trying to replicate. There may or may not have been fanboy squealing in the making of this video. I also really love the Badnik designs, especially the Hard-Boiled Heavies. They're all so unique and different in design, but cartoony as well. They fit right in incredibly well, a little too well I'd say. That's a good thing, by the way. I don't mean to confuse you, my children. Levels all look different, having the proper color schemes and providing interesting aesthetics that aren't only cool to look at, but help enhance the level design as well, but we'll get there when we get there. Hell, even when the game introduces some 3D models, they harken back to the Sega Saturn days, and honestly it's one of my favorite character designs in the series. I don't know, something about Sonic and his friends' look just works here. Feeling classic, but having the cool look that Sonic so rightfully deserves. The game does have its share of cutscenes that are in-game like I said before, and those are passable. I mean, the in-game cutscenes are just okay as is, so they're kinda whatever. But I feel like they're a bit above average here since the character models are also expressive. The transitions all look really cool though. I just wish there were more of these. A lot of the levels just don't have any transitions, and after about halfway through, they go away entirely, which seems pretty lazy. They all look cool, and I just wanted more. Oh well. At least we have animated cutscenes as well, and damn do these look great. Great stretch and squish animation, a great amount of expressions on all the characters, a great color scheme, and it all looks so damn, well, great. Put it all together and you have bar none the best looking classic game and one of the best looking Sonic games. And trust me, that's saying a lot with how good a lot of these Sonic games look. And let's talk about that soundtrack. Not gonna lie, this game became one of my favorite soundtracks in the series so fast. It's so good. All the remakes and original tracks hit the perfect notes, and there isn't a single weak track to me. I love it. There's so much here, and it all sounds incredible. I've heard the damn Green Hill theme more times than I'd like to, but it sounds better than ever here. That goes for both Act 1 and 2. Yes, this game does the cool thing from Sonic 3 and Knuckles, and by that I mean how each act has its own rendition of the theme. It's cool because you pretty much get double of the insanely awesome soundtrack, and that's fine by me. It's really hard to narrow it down to a favorite, which makes it all the more annoying when the game glitches out and the soundtrack just kinda stops. And yes, this did happen to me. Sure, it can be fixed by entering a bonus stage, special stage, finishing the level, or restarting, but it still sucks. Even more so since the music is just so good. It doesn't happen often though, and I don't really know if this counts as a presentation thing, but fuck it, I don't really care anyways. Blah. Regardless, it's clear to say that this game's presentation is outstanding. It looks and sounds off the charts, never getting old after the many playthroughs I did of this game. But even still, if the game doesn't play well, no matter what, you don't have a good platformer on your hands. So let's take a look at Sonic Mania's gameplay. Being a 2D Sonic game to celebrate the classics, things are set up the same. You go through many zones, each having 2 acts with a mini boss at the end of the first and a normal boss battle at the end of the second. Sonic's health in some sense is the ring system, where if you get hit with rings in your possession, you'll take damage and drop all your rings. If you get hit without rings, you'll die and you'll be down to life. Lose all those and it's game over. You can also die from drowning, getting crushed, falling into bottomless pits. Okay, I'm literally explaining Sonic the Hedgehog. I'm sure we all know how this works, so let's just move on from this whole explanation thingy. I'm sure it isn't needed here. The game feels pretty much identical to the classics. The momentum, the movement speed, the weight, everything. It's as if they literally copied all the control data from the classic games themselves. If they aren't the exact same, they're so ridiculously close that I couldn't even tell. And I've been playing the classic games for years now. That being said, yes, every character controls beautifully. It also helps that the animations are all so much smoother now, so it's easier to pull off a lot of the more advanced maneuvers. It's okay, you can drool over my incredible Sonic skill. Fuck! 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 The new drop dash is also a great new addition, and I find myself using it a lot due to how much easier it allows you to get speed. I still think that the insta shield is the best jump action though. That thing will never stop being useful. It's so easy to notice great controls when you have excellent level design to complement them, and thankfully this game delivers on that in spades. Not only does each zone have a different look to them, but they all provide their own challenges, set pieces, and overall fun. The game is a mixture of new and reimagined classics, meaning that you'll be going through completely new areas and some that should look awfully familiar. There are more old stages than new, which did make me pretty mad at first, and I won't deny there is a bit of an over-reliance on nostalgia. But there are enough new additions and gimmicks added that really mix up the older stages, making them completely new in some cases. Really, just the name and concept alone are the same, you know, besides the music as well, since that's kind of a given. For most of the old ones, Act 1 is the most similar to the original, and Act 2 is when things really start to get interesting and different, and I really like how they did that. But back to level design, how dare I get distracted and start criticizing in a review? There are platforming challenges all over the place because yes, Sonic the Hedgehog is indeed a platforming series, but overcoming the challenges and getting to the higher routes through the use of skill and whatnot leads you to the reward of speed, and that's flippin' awesome because that's how things are supposed to be. We play Sonic games because it's fun to go fast, and it encourages the player to get good at platforming challenges so that you can do all the cool, exciting fast parts. And hey, those platforming challenges are really fun, so everybody wins. Every stage is huge, being linear in a sense, but encouraging exploration to find dozens upon dozens of alternate paths and secrets galore. This allows for multiple playthroughs to feel completely different, so you never get burnt out. I played this game 5 fucking times for this review, and I still don't feel like I've seen everything. It's the same feeling I get from Sonic 3 and Knuckles. There's just so much here that it never gets old. It's quite mind-blowing. Hidden throughout the levels are tons of different power-ups, like the always useful ring thingy. That pretty much makes it so that if you get hit, instead of having all your rings scattered all over the place, they're put into bigger rings that make it easier to get all your rings back if you're hit. The shields allow you to get hit without losing your ring, with them all adding a jump action and some elemental effects. They're even better than before, and that's awesome. There are a couple of power-ups, but those are just the ones that stood out to me the most, and I don't feel like talking about all of them, so let's just move on before I get shamed even further. You can also find giant rings throughout the stages, and these lead to the game's special stages. I'm so glad that this is how you enter the special stages because it emphasizes that exploring these stages is highly recommended, and it gives the player a better appreciation for how well made the zones themselves are. As for the special stages themselves, it's a mix of a lot of elements from the past special stages. You're chasing a UFO through a racetrack and have to collect rings since they're depleting over time, and once they run out, you'll be kicked out of the special stage. You can also collect blue orbs on the track to give your character more speed, which is necessary if you want to catch up to the UFO and claim your Chaos Emerald, because we all want what it gives you if you get all 7. These are the most fair special stages because it isn't over-reliant on memorization, but skill above all else. It's challenging, but you just have to get good, and after a while, you'll be able to take these down no problem. I do, however, wish there wasn't insta-fail bottomless pits in these, because that kinda kills the whole fairness of the later ones, since it gets pretty easy to slip off and fall. Other than that though, these are my favorite special stages in the entire series. It's like Sonic R with good controls, mixing with focusing on the player's skill to get rewarded with Chaos Emeralds, which award you with the game's true ending, and one other thing that I'm pretty sure we all know what it is. I won't say if you don't though, but seriously, you should get under the rock you're living and play more Sonic games. There are also bonus stages in this game. If you pass a checkpoint with at least 25 rings, you can jump in a circle of stars above the checkpoint and be whisked to the game's set of bonus stages, the Blue Spheres. These are modeled after Sonic 3 and Knuckles special stages, only this time you aren't rewarded by a Chaos Emerald but a medal, gold for perfecting the stage, and silver for just finishing it. You have all the stages from Sonic 3 and Knuckles, and a lot of new maps that range from easy to what the fuck is this bullshit? Son of a— They bring out the worst in me at times. These are fun, I won't lie, but as bonus stages, they're kind of a pace breaker. Think of it like this. You're blazing through a normal level at high speed, but then you decide to enter a bonus stage that can take a couple of minutes. Imagine this at every single checkpoint. After a while, you just get tired of it because they take up a lot of time from just playing the game normally. Again, these are fun though, don't get me wrong. They're just in the wrong place if you ask me. But because I'm a madman, I did all of them anyways and perfected every single one of them. No, I don't fuck around when it comes to classic Sonic. Once you've at least beaten them all once, you can play them in a separate mode, so there's that if you don't feel like perfecting them all in the main story campaign. That way you can just play the game, and that's awesome. Finally, let's go over the bosses. In the classic games, some were pretty good, however most were just okay, and the rest were all a total joke. But here, I was incredibly surprised by how much fun I had with the bosses. They all had different strategies and means to hurt them, all shaking things up in different ways. I won't show it here, but major shoutouts to the chemical plant boss. That was awesome, and I squealed like a fanboy. But don't tell that to anyone, that's a secret. Seriously, a lot of these bosses are some of the better ones in the series, they're that good. It's hard to narrow it down to a favorite, which speaks volumes as to how good they were. I will, however, say that some of these bosses go on for a while, and none of them have checkpoints. So if your timer starts looking like this and you die, then you have to do it all over again. Things should never get that way more than once though. I was just having a very unlucky time in this case. Wow, I didn't even mean to make a time plan. Hold on a second. Oh, sap, I did it again! I'm not taking you off, am I? Okay, it's time to stop. That's really my only complaint when it comes to bosses though, and that admittedly can get annoying, but again, it doesn't happen nearly enough to drive me crazy. There are some other modes you can play around with as well, like time trials and the multiplayer competition mode, where you race with a friend in the game stages. The stretched screen looks crappy, I won't deny it. I wish that you could just have more peripheral vision rather than stretching for nostalgia's sake, since that's how things were in Sonic 2, but you get used to it after a while, I suppose. And hey, racing against a friend is always fun. Maybe that's just my competitive nature speaking though. With tons of extras and secrets to unlock that allow for even more customization and fun with different playthroughs, there's even more replay value in this game, and that's awesome. It is pretty weird though that adding and changing gameplay features can only be in no save mode. That means if you wanted Sonic to have different moods, you'd have to play through the game with this different set in one sitting. And to be fair, I would always play through the entire game in one go when capturing footage, but the game is a couple of hours and not everyone plays through the entire game in one go. Yeah, whatever. All in all, the game plays incredibly well, with a lot to do here and a lot of depth in each and everything it tries to do. And no, it's not perfect, but I had a ton of fun with about 99% of the game, so yeah, it's pretty damn solid on its own. The game looks great, sounds great, and plays exceedingly well. Can you tell what I thought about this game? Guys, we don't deserve Sonic Mania. Besides getting everything a good game should get right, well, right? There's just so much charm and love put into the game. It gives it a lot of personality and care, making the experience even more pleasant. And as a celebration of the series, it reminds us of how fun past levels were, and how new levels can be just as good if not better. And you have to think about it this way. I grew up playing the classics. I know these games inside and out, so having a new one to play is both exciting and intriguing, since I know that my favorites are gonna have competition now. Or, you know, this game could have ended up being a joke. Clearly it wasn't. This was made by Sonic fans who know this franchise well. They remastered a few of the classic, made some fan games, and now made a great new 2D Sonic game. It does so much right and gave me so much fun that I couldn't help but play through this game so many times. And because of all this, I think that maybe, just maybe, I prefer this over Sonic 3 and Knuckles. And that's crazy to me, because that's been my favorite Sonic game for years now. But I have to sit on it for a while to come up with a concrete answer on that, but think of them neck and neck at the moment. It's that good. There's a lot here that both Sonic fans and people interested in 2D platformers would appreciate, and I think that anyone can find a lot of enjoyment out of the masterpiece that is Sonic Mania. What a fantastic celebration for the series. Your turn, Sonic Forces!